Welcome, guys. My name is Devin Seui. This is my lovely wife,
Annie Seui.
and we own DA Seui Construction. And we just wanted to make a podcast and just kind of go over our entire process of the construction build for the bricks building, our bricks project here that you see behind us, right? And just wanted
Yes.
to see, I don't know, just kind of go through from the pre-construction phase. And when we first met Brett, now he's literally family to us. It's family ties now. And then just kind of go through all our trades and all the whole entire process of where we're at right now, sitting here, right in front of our build.
Crazy.
An amazing experience. But the first time that we met Brett was 2.5 years ago, and we met in a Starbucks. And I remember he just called me like, "Yeah, let's meet at a Starbucks," and then he kept missing the turn. And I was waiting in the Starbucks, and he said, "Man, I missed the turn again, but I promise I'm right there." Because where the Starbucks is in Salt Lake, it's only a one-way road. But we eventually ended up meeting, and he didn't have exactly the idea what he wanted yet. He just had some drawings, some renderings that he had of this cool building where he could make just exactly what this is, but very much so a little bit smaller than this and a few rooms. But he was like, "Look, I just got this idea I came from," and you guys know his story. He explained his story to us, and we just bought in because of who he was as a person. And we felt as a company at that time that he fit what we were looking for a client as well. Because as Annie mentioned before in a previous podcast, was how we also interview our clients to ensure that, hey, are we best for you, but also is the client best for us? So that way we can be on the same playing field. We build the trust, the relationship, and that's what makes this project so smooth, or all our other projects so smooth. But what do you think about that? Like just our relationships and
Yeah, I mean, we met Brett through a mutual friend, right? And he kind of made the introduction. You guys met at the Starbucks, and I remember after you met, you were just like, "Man, I don't know. I don't know what like it's all just a concept right now." And in construction, a lot of people will come to us, right, with a concept, and we're like, "Oh, well, you need plans, right? You need an engineer, you need an architect, you need, these things." And at the point that Brett was at was, I just have this idea and I want to roll with it and I want to make it happen. So, but his passion, I think, is what really drew you to him. But you were also like, yeah, we got a long way to go before we can put a shovel in the ground. So,
long way to go.
yeah,
And
and I mean, that was almost 2.5 years ago,
yeah,
right?
no, it
From
was.
that meeting in Starbucks to today. But I remember too, just you telling me about Brett, who he was as a person, right? And like, you're like, he wants to build something dope. Like, but he's also just a really good guy. Like, I can tell. And for me, when you say that about someone, that means something, because you met a lot of people, you've worked with a lot of people we have, in our business and previous work that we've done. And so for you to say that, I was like, dang, I really got to meet this dude. And it was kind of an inside joke because they continued having meetings, right? Pre-construction, just kind of narrowing down what it might look like. Brett was looking at buildings, right? But he kept texting you, and he would text Dev at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. at night. This guy does not sleep, I swear. Brett needs a good nap. He's always working. This guy
Always
works so
working.
hard.
Yep.
But it's just funny because I was like, who is texting you right now? It's like, it's midnight, it's 11 p.m. Like, who is that? And you'd always be like, oh, it's just Brett, it's just Brett. And I was like, I need to meet this guy. But I made this joke of, oh, that's Brittany. That's his side piece, Brittany.
Brittany.
But that's just funny now
I don't
because
think I've told Brett that story
I
yet.
know. I mentioned it to him at the
Oh, you did?
orientation night. Yeah, just because I was like, I don't think we've ever told him that, but just that was kind of like the inside joke of it. Because I was like, man, I really got to meet this guy and make sure he's real.
Yeah,
But
well, and that's how like locked in we were from the very beginning. Even though he didn't, have a full set of drawings. In a perfect world, as a general contractor, if we don't have the design on our side and the design is coming from the owner or the client, it's the perfect world is where we go to a client and they already have the set of drawings. They
Right.
have it architectural, engineered, all the stamps required to submit to the city for a permit. Sometimes, even better, they say, hey, we already got the drawings and we already got the permit.
Hmm.
So, we just need a builder. And that is obviously in a perfect world.
There's a
That's
big bug by you.
ah, yeah, that's how we do
Stay
it
outta
around
here.
here. That's how we do it around here. But
Spooky. No, but
oh,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is we usually will redirect. We'll say, hey, we have a few architects, engineers that we work with, that we can refer people to. But also, it's we want to make sure that we can be your builder, but at the same time, you gotta narrow down exactly what it is, what you want, and then we can bid out your job. So, but with Brett in this case, it was more like Brett had never done this before in his life, and we were like, well, this is usually what the process looks like, but Dev was like, let me just help you, let me help you through this, let me really be part of it. And we were having meetings with the architect, right?
yep,
Like
yep,
a few different architects, right, to find the right one.
yeah,
Brett continued meeting with them. They kind of narrowed it down, and then you guys went and visited the older building that
yep.
we were going to use, and then we ended up finding this building, and it was called Agora during that phase. That was like the pre-bricks phase, but then kind of came here, and Dev and Brett were both like, yeah, this feels right, and
Yeah, I
then
think that was the cool part though. And I'll always say it, like one of the major things that I loved about this project, and in meeting Brett at that time was how, like Andy said, and Brett has said himself, like he didn't even know what TI meant, tenant improvement. But to go from that to this, what you see behind us, like this is all Brett. It came out of his mind.
yeah,
He thought about all this stuff. He had visions and dreams and just things that he wanted to do and make it a reality. And so for us to be able to do that and to see and work with a client that literally his thing is just go for it.
hmm
Just go for it. You'll figure it out. You'll build the relationships. If you don't know something, build a relationship with the guy that does know it, and then he'll help you, kind of a
yeah,
thing. And that's kind of how it was with Brett and I.
yeah,
Even though and I love just the um, what's the word? I love how just open he is.
yeah,
Of hey, look, I don't know.
yeah.
Hey,
The
this is what I want to
transparency
do. Yeah, the
throughout this whole
transparency.
project is, I think, what made it so successful. But
Yeah.
also like, he's humble enough to be like, I honestly don't know what that is. Like,
No,
he's
but that's
not
what I'm
sitting
saying.
there
Like
pretending.
that's why I was like, bro, I want to help you.
Yeah,
Like, that relationship, that transparency, he was open with me, because typically most people are just going to say, oh, no, I know, or they make up some shit,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, bro, do you really know or do you not? Because
Yeah,
truthfully, if you BS it, you're going to hold this whole entire thing up if you
right.
could just tell me the truth right out the gate, you know? And that's honestly what I've learned from Brett too, is like, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah,
Do you want to help me or do you not want to help me?
right.
Right? And as you build that relationship, I was, again, that's where I was like, man, I want to help this guy. And look at where we're at now. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
relationship that we have now. It's freaking, I mean, that's my uso right there. And I mean that. But again, the relationships that we've built throughout the entire thing, going from just an idea to finding a building, building a relationship to get the building,
Mm-hmm.
getting funding, building the relationship to get the funding, and everything. Then we went to the architects, the engineers, building a relationship with them to get good architects, good engineers on board. Then we went into bidding, and then we opened it up. And typically, how it works is we just send a bid to the owner or our client, and we go back and forth of trying to figure out where we could help them save, or we can figure out, okay, we can either save on our costs here, or we can save on the scope of work and change how things look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened, as this thing, how this mezzanine was supposed to be in a U shape on that side of the building.
Yep.
And this side, we were going to do like glass all up top, up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then now look at it, we changed it, right? But there's so many steps. And I think one of the main important parts that I want to touch on is the importance of just attention to detail in the pre-construction phase, because people always wonder, like, and how are they able to build it that fast?
Yeah.
And the truth is you take time, real time, and put in every single detail down to the doorknob, of what this building is going to look like,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no holdup.
Yeah.
There's no holdup. But as you go through those details, and with our experience, we can see the unforeseen things or things that will come up, in the future
Yes.
with those specific things that they're choosing to do.
Right.
Like, oh, I want to put a fish tank in here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to include this, and this.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's wait on the fish tank.
And I think time, like, people know that when you change something, right, it costs money, right? It costs money to change, but they don't understand that it also costs you time. And time can also cost you money, especially if you're a business and you plan on your operating date, And so, like you said, just like taking the time, meeting with the right people, making the decisions you need to make, and sticking with it. And also not trying to like change on the fly as things are still under construction. Because I think as an owner, sometimes you see something under construction and you're like, oh, shoot, that's not what it looks like. And sometimes it's like, well, it's just not done yet, right? But at the same time, there's things people want to add. And it's very uncommon to go through any construction process and not have changes, right? Changes are inevitable. People add, people take away. Like that's very common. And so we know how to adapt to that. But it's also the expectation that comes with it on the owner's end, right? And then you setting that expectation, right? Like, okay, we can change that, but this is what comes with it, right?
Yeah.
Time cost, monetary cost, all those things. But yeah.
If a general contractor doesn't know what a change order is, then they're a rookie. They're a rookie. Like
that's very,
that is such, changes always happen, always.
But it's how you adapt.
Exactly.
That really can make you.
I was just going to say that. From
a good contractor to a great contractor. And I think, what do you do when you're in the storm of it all, right? Yep. Because the truth is it's going to come, and so you're so good at this when you're in those situations. You are a calm mind, you know how to prevail, you know how to move forward. And that's a kind of a quote that I live by is constant forward motion, right? How do I keep moving forward? If something stops me, I, stopped in my tracks, don't know what to do, take a minute, breathe, but keep moving forward. Because even as business owners, like not just a construction project, but in our business, in our processes, in our strategy, it's how do we keep moving forward? How do we keep pushing ourselves and growing, right? And that's why this project is so special to us, is because this is next level for us. Yep. We've kind of jumped into commercial this last year, back into commercial for you, but just kind of touching into onto new ground, kind of a different side of our strategy, of our business model, It's been so rewarding, like working for these business owners and then seeing their dreams come to life, but then also we get to receive the benefit from it, like we build a gym, we get to go work out at that gym, because we've established that relationship with the owners and because we want to support them, right? Like we build bricks. We are members of Bricks. We have our first corporate office here. What an awesome way for us to celebrate this building, our owner, support, kind of giving back to the owner. So I've just loved that part of the experience. But
oh, yeah, 100%. But I think it all comes back down to what you said, relationships, though.
Yeah.
The relationship that we've built with our clients. And I think that's what separates us, honestly. And I'll take pride in, as our company here, we really do cherish our relationships with our clients.
So
and
true.
We like to set that like out the gate. But at the very beginning, once we come on site and we give a bid, the first thing we're trying to do is establish just rapport, and just build trust, just through our knowledge, and through our experience and through our confidence in what we can do.
Confidence and credibility. We live on that,
Exactly.
and then it's let us perform and we'll show you what we can do, and we're consistent. We perform well. We also are great at communicating. I think that's like the number one thing I hear from clients is like, hey, I called this guy, didn't hear back from him for like, a few days before he even texted me back about, and then it's like they show up when they want to show up. They come whenever, this is referring to other general contractors people have worked with. And so that is something that can really make you stand out too as a general contractor, is just constant, consistent, and good communication, right? And we're finding ways, to improve that even, with like our customer hub,
Yep.
platforms that they can log into, things like that. So
No, 100%. And that's what made this whole entire thing, so successful, is the relationships we built. And even then moving forward, after we got done with all the pre-construction phase, we got all the drawings, all the designs set, what the offices was going to look like. As you can see behind us, we were going to do a glass front above all, or a glass front for all the offices up above the mezz. We were going to do a steel cable. And then even the paint was kind of like, what do we paint black? We like black. Do we do all black? As
yeah,
you can see under the mezz behind us, we kept just under the walkway is black. And then as you go into the rooms is just the raw material. And then we were kind of moving around Brett's office, on this main level underneath the mezz. And then going from, okay, is the conference room going to be on this side or on that side?
mm-hmm.
Is it too big? And we actually downsized or downgraded the conference room and made Brett's office bigger, but that was going through this entire process of, wow, the plans were even submitted to the city
Yeah,
and we were waiting for the permit.
yep.
And then we
I remember
also had,
taping it out. We were standing on gravel,
Yep.
and we were like, we put little tape marks, and taped it all out. And he's like, oh, I think we should make this a little bit bigger, this a little bit smaller, that type of thing. So,
and while we were waiting for the permit, for the city, Blazer had their own GC that was building out this shell over here, all the
Yeah.
bathrooms in the kitchen in this side. And we came in and they tore out this whole entire floor because it was all messed up. It wasn't good enough to drive on, even walk on. It was a tripping hazard. So they tore out half of this warehouse floor, and that's when it was all gravel. There was nothing. And then we got to working with their GC, Blazer's GC, and we were going back and forth on what was the best way, because they were at the end of their contract and needed to pour this floor back. But then we came in and said, hey, look, I need spot footings for this mezzanine. So it wouldn't make sense for you to pour this entire floor back
right.
just for me to
Dig it
saw
up.
cut and dig it up
Yeah.
so I can put my footings in.
Yeah.
And so there was that whole thing in the pre-construction phase of, hey, let me get these footings poured first, and then you guys can pour the slab after.
Yeah.
But then they were like, well, I'm ready to pour it now. And we can't pour our footings because we didn't have the permit yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah, they held the permit under
yeah,
them.
and so for like a couple of weeks, we were going back and forth and like saying, it got to a point where we were like, okay, look, how about we just form it up? You guys set the grade, we'll form the spot footings, and then they could pour around my forms. And that way we have our spot footings all boxed out. And then that's what it came to. So then all of December, while we didn't even have the permit yet, we formed up all the footings. They poured this floor. And then January 6th, it was the day that we got the permit.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just sitting and waiting, for just to start,
Yeah.
And it's tough as a general, though, when a project delays, because you don't only just delay that project, you have a pipeline that gets delayed.
So true.
All your other projects
Ripple
that were supposed to
effect.
start,
Yeah.
now they have to be pushed. So we had to push a couple of jobs, but then there was one that we actually started,
Yeah.
and finished before we even got the permit. And then when brick started, we kind of were able to push some of those jobs out, to free up some time so that we could really hit this thing hard, and help Brett hit it in that time frame. And so we got it January 6th, and he was like, so 3 months, right? And I was like, 3 months. Sheesh. I said, you know what? 3 months, dog.
Yeah.
And I remember we were looking at each other
90
like,
days.
but that was one of the other things why I like love and appreciate our relationship with Brett, or how I knew that, like, man, this guy's solid, because he has the same mentality that I do, of like, not 3 months, bro. Send it.
Yeah.
Like, just the fire,
All in.
all in, bro.
Yep.
And so it was contagious, and I was bought in to his vision, which then became our vision,
Yeah.
because now I think that's another thing that we cherish in our company is that our client's home, our client's project, our client's business becomes ours,
Mm-hmm.
and we treat it like our own. So when we then get into construction and then we find the trades, we have done a great job to really build a good sub list, right? We don't just bring on anybody.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that our trades align with what our culture is within our company, within Seui Construction,
Mhm.
right? The integrity, the customer experience, the honesty, the loyalty to us, and then just being able to have that. That is why we went right out the gate. We freaking hit this thing hard, and literally we went through this entire process, and April 1st,
Mhm.
we got the certificate of occupancy, literally 3 months. Actually, less than 3 months,
Gee.
right? Yeah, less
Yeah,
than
a
3
little bit
months.
less.
See? But no, it's just that pre-construction phase. A lot of people don't understand, what it takes
Yeah.
just to even get to putting the shovel in the dirt.
Right.
There's so many things that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think, once you get into construction,
Mm-hmm.
it's really just I think you just have to be good at managing people
Yep.
and managing processes efficiently,
Yeah.
and knowing, okay, on this job, I know I have this that needs to happen here, this that needs to happen there. But while I got that person over there, I'm going to have this person go over there. This is something that Devin did during this project that I think really made it go smoothly was that maybe that wasn't the best way to say it, but really you had your trades stacked on top of each other, but they were just working on opposite sides of this building.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have the electricians come in the same time, the HVAC, the same time, the framers, like all of these things because you were strategic in where you had them working, and your scheduling. Your schedule was pretty dang on. I think we still have the original schedule on the wall up until we got COO.
Yep.
And it was like spot on. But again, I think part of what makes us a good general contractor is anticipating needs, anticipating the next move 10 days before that's going to happen,
Yep.
right? Making those phone calls. It's also like you can't stutter. You can't like be afraid to call or afraid, or whatever it's, hey, no, this is my job. We're hiring you as our sub. We need you here this day. Can you do it? Yes, no, let's do it,
Yep.
But like you said, we look out for our guys. One thing Devin always says is we take care of our guys, and that's something I support in too on the back end. We want to make sure that all of our subs, as long as they show up their end of the work, we're always going to take care of them. And we're always going to, well, hopefully refer them, keep using them,
Yep.
But it's because we care about our quality of work. And really, that speaks to our name, the subcontractors that we use,
Mhm.
and we've built some really great relationships. And it's the same on the owner's end, You have these owners that you get close with and you really buy into their vision. Same with subcontractors, These guys are building companies too, and we just get to be a small part of that, and that's so fulfilling on the construction end, right? But yeah, the flow of this job really came down to you strategically placing subcontractors, having them working efficiently, right? Letting them know their scope and really pushing on that is, hey,
Yep.
we got to get this done this day. What do
Yeah.
we got to do? And you were here though. You were present. It wasn't like, hey, go to the job site. It was no, I'm going to be there, every day. Sun up to sundown, literally. Even the past month, you've been here early mornings, late nights, We're kind of tag teaming. We've got our
Yeah.
boys at home, so I'm there
Right.
too. But the days
Long
that I'm here,
days.
we can't, we're long days in and out, but so worth it,
Yeah, and I think that's what helps when you say take care of our trades. It's not just making good deals with them. It's not
Mhm.
just doing future business with them. There's all those things as well. But specifically on our projects, how we take care of them is we build a very strategic schedule
Mhm.
because a trade doesn't like when they come on site and it's not ready,
Right.
or they don't like it when they come on site and then it is ready, but then I have somebody else in that area too.
Yeah.
And so everybody is stacked on top of each other. And when we say stacked on top of each other, it just means that we got one trade that pushed ahead and then the other trade is right behind them.
Yeah.
And then that trade also has someone behind them,
Yeah.
and so everybody's in line, but they have to move together at that same pace. Once one trade slows down,
Yep.
if the three trades behind them don't slow down and keep that same pace, they then overlap the first trade. And then that's where the confusion happens. That's where hey, these guys are in my way. These guys are in my way. But that's why we push. We push on timelines of, hey, this is our schedule. This is our critical path. This is when you have to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I have float time after that, that's where I was able to take a 4-month project, turn it into 3 months. Is all that float time that we had. We're cutting it all out.
Yep.
But in order to do that was get our guys on the right page, all on the same page, and hit those hard dates, those milestones, right?
Yeah.
And we went on, and then our framers
Yeah.
were kicking ass
Yeah.
until they weren't.
Yeah.
And then they dropped out, went AWOL for 4 days.
Yep.
And on
4
the
days
5th
just
day,
lost. Yeah.
like no contact, no nothing.
Yeah.
We were stuck in the water.
Yeah.
And the reason why framing is such, it sounds obvious to us, but, for the people out there, framing is a critical path, meaning without framing, if framing stops or any critical path item stops, everything else stops. You can't move forward. Framing is the actual structure that's being built. So if you stop framing, how can we install mechanical, electrical, plumbing into something that doesn't exist? All right. And so once they stopped and they AWOL'd and they went zero ghost mode, no contact, it was tough because it was like, look, hey, every single day contacting, nothing. Then on the 5th day, they answer and say they had some come up. And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
But this no contact, no communication is
Right.
BS.
Right.
Because you just screwed all of us 4 days.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to put this 4-month into a 3-month and you just burned me 4 days, 5 days because the framers didn't get there to the next day, the next crew. I'm like, yo, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, we get things come up, but you have to communicate.
Should have let us know. Yeah.
We would have taken care of you. Now, if it wasn't a critical path trade, then it could probably go longer. And then we can, hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
And if they would have reached back to us and got back on track and it wasn't a critical path trade, then we'd be good. Okay. But since it was framing, so that was one of our major hiccups. And we lost money actually with that framer. Still need to get that money back, bro. We coming. Yeah. But
True. We are.
But that is an unforeseen thing,
Yeah.
a change,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we have to be ready for. But that's what separates us from, other companies is how fast and efficient can you make a change and try to keep that same timeline and crunch.
Keep moving forward.
Yep. The first day they stopped talking to me, I already knew who I was calling next. Okay. Shoot them a text. Hey, just be ready.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can even do that, to like have those guys that I can text and say, hey, just be ready, and they're willing to just jump on, is because the relationships that I built with them throughout the years, working with them, like, oh, I got Dev, because they know I got them too, and so just like that, boom, drop those guys. It was Friday, we fired them, and then Saturday,
we had
right
our
back
next, our next framers on site.
Next framers on site, kept the schedule too.
Yep.
Those 5 days that they burned, fortunately, was the 5 days of float time that we did already bake into the framing timeline there. But there's just so many things like that it's just so unfortunate because we really want to keep, the project moving smoothly. And most importantly, we want to keep our relationships with everybody good, even our trades. But the thing about a general contractor that a lot of people don't understand is if the subcontractors mess up, the GC is the face of the project.
Yeah, that's on you.
So
You're managing that.
The framer F this thing up. Nobody looking at the framer. The only one looking at the framer is us.
Yeah.
Everybody else looking at Seui Construction like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
You said you could do this, but what's going on? Right? But they didn't look at us like that because we pulled our shit together and we got it done. Right?
True.
And we had the glass.
Yep. That was another hiccup in
3
the
weeks
job.
out of grand opening and the glass dropped.
Yep.
And
Our glass vendor.
we didn't get the glass. They weren't going to send it in time. They were
Yeah.
they were going to send it in time, but they didn't account for the install.
Yeah.
And so, but it was all good. We called those guys, made up with those guys, and have a good relationship with them, and we'll use them again in the past. But again, it was tough. Our timelines were tight, so
Yeah.
they
It was
they were
also
super
out of
cool.
state. It was just,
Yeah, they were super cool on our FaceTime call with them, and so
yeah. Logistically, though, it was hard. It was
yeah, it
hard to
was.
work with someone who was supplying from out of state. They needed a ton of measurements. They needed, and like you said, that didn't include installation. It was a whole process. And then that story was kind of crazy with our current glass vendor, how he was literally at a restaurant nearby Bricks, the
Next
Bricks
door,
building.
right next
Yeah,
door.
next door. He saw our construction banner up on um the wall, the exterior wall, and he was like, I'm just gonna, well, his wife, I should give credit to his wife. His
Yep.
wife was like, "Babe, you should just go in there. Just go introduce yourself, see, because they're also part of the Polynesian community." And so they saw Seui and they were like, he's like, "I'm just gonna go in," and he had gotten business cards made that day, he said. And he's like, "I'm just gonna go, start up newer company." And so he came in, he introduced himself to me and Dev, and he's like, "Hey, my wife and I are starting this glass company. I have, he has his GC license, he has experience in construction, glass." And we were like, "No freaking way.
Yep.
Like, we need glass." So honestly, and built the relationship, and we were like, "Listen, we're pushing. We're pushing this time. Can you do this?" He's like, "Let me talk to my vendors," that type of thing. And it all worked out.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
come day one, March 31st, when we had that orientation, we have glass in here.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like we obviously still have punch list items and things, but like that was just how the stars aligned on that was crazy. Someone was looking out for us because how he was prompted to come in here, we responded to him. We were able to, negotiate, work a deal, and now we have a relationship with a new vendor.
Yep.
And something that we also take pride in and we kind of wanted to touch on was how we love supporting local businesses, but also Polynesian owned businesses. With that being such a huge part of our family, of our culture, my husband's culture, our kids' culture, now culture that I'm married into, like, we love supporting that locally here. And so a few of our vendors, we have our steel guys, Seui Construction. They're,
With Rich.
yep, with Rich. Like, we were able to hire him onto the job. Sam with Third Glass, we were able to hire them onto the job. Like,
Third one.
third
Yep.
one, third one
Third
glass,
one.
yeah.
Side on glass. DBA.
Yes. True. Third
Yep.
one construction, side on glass.
Yeah, the OGs.
Yeah.
But no, that's so true. One of the things that like we always talk about, the reason why I like to wear short sleeves is because I have, a tattoo, a tribal tattoo. And I love when other business owners and, higher end clients, see me with the tattoo. And even though, like, people always say, like, oh, you shouldn't have tattoos, you should cover your tattoo, in business, And I get that. There are some meetings for sure, but I think,
I think that's
um,
kind of getting pushed out, though.
yeah, yeah,
I
push
think,
it out,
yeah,
kick it out.
honestly,
Yeah.
I
I
think
got
people
neck
are,
tattoos, man.
yeah,
Like, come on,
it's not really a thing
Yeah.
anymore. If it is, they're the wrong type of people. We don't even want to be in the meeting with them.
Yeah, right.
If
Because it
that's what
truly
you care
is
about.
the relationship.
Yeah.
When I say we
Right.
make sales,
Who you are.
they're buying us
Yeah.
as people.
Right.
That's the first thing that they invest in.
Yes.
Is Seui Construction, is Devin, who I'm talking to right now, is he a good person? Can I trust this guy to enter into my house and remodel my house while I got kids, dogs?
Yeah.
Is my stuff safe?
Right.
That's the first thing.
Well, truth is, being in a service-based industry,
Yeah.
that's how it goes, and we're always putting our customer first. It's always, hey, do they feel like they can trust us, and can we trust them? It's a mutual relationship, but also we want to take care of them, we want to make sure that when their home is complete, when their, building is built, it's like, dang, that was such a great experience, and
Yep.
I would refer them to anyone because of how great my experience was with them, and who they were as people, but also their work, you
Yep.
know?
No, but exactly to that
Yeah.
point though, what we were talking about is just the Polynesian community.
Yes.
That's why I love wearing my short sleeve, showing my tattoo, so that when we walk into these meetings, these rooms, that it's, oh, and this general contractor, and nothing against subcontractors, but to be a general, to run the entire thing,
Yeah.
to be the right hand of the owner, and they go hand in hand, and we go back and forth to build whatever it is that they want to come to life. He's Samoan, or he's Polynesian. And I always just say I'm Polynesian because I don't want it to be Samoan, Tongan,
Yeah.
all that BS. We're just the Polynesian people.
Yep.
We're all the same people. And if I can be an influence to our culture,
Yeah.
and they can see that, man, like, just like how some of our guys that we've used, they say, man, that's Kuda. I didn't know a Samoan cat was running that thing. No, bro, it's just Polynesians, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and I love that. Like, that is so fulfilling to me because I want, to be an example to the younger generation or even the older generation, whoever it is in our culture, to see us and say, and we can do that. It's more than just sports. You want to be a fucking lawyer, a doctor, you want to be the president of the United States, go do that. We're such a smart group of people. And one of the things that make us so good is that we take pride in everything. There's pros and cons to that in this culture. Okay. Our pride is also our downfall. But when we take pride in the right things, our culture is like a pit bull. That they say when a pit bull bites down on something, it won't let go. Like, you can't, the jaws lock, and it's the same way in our culture when we take pride of something, is that we're all in. If it's a community, if it's a football team, if it's whatever it is, like, we die, we live and bleed for that, right? And so what I hope to be an example of is, if we take pride in the right things, I know our people can do such amazing things. And we do such amazing things. There's so many of us that are business owners, athletes, doctors, big time guys, but just to shout out our guys,
Yeah.
we had Tony Mafileo,
True.
with Valley Isle Construction. He did our demo on our concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Rich with doing our steel work. Seui Construction, shout out Rich. And then we had Henley and his wife, Sydney. They own Salt and Stone. They just started a construction cleaning company, and they did our cleaning. Then we have Sam and Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
who owns Side on Glass, and they were able to work on this job with us. And then we're even working with Ezra. He was going to do our HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
Ezra has the same last name as us, Seui, with Perfect Breeze, and I wish we could have used him more, but there's just all that. Am I missing any, brother, Paulie?
I don't think so.
And if I am, I'm sorry, I love you, But seriously, that was such a big thing for us on this project, was to be able to use all these subcontractors, these business owners that are Polynesian, and to be surrounded by like-minded people, and to just see our people win.
Yeah. And we're making, like, that's a conscious effort on our end, because like you said, we want to see them win, but we also, like, we want to support the community now for the future generations. We've got kids, we've got 2 sons.
Yep.
And it's like, and they're both Polynesian, and so it's like, we want them to know, hey, you can do anything you set your mind to, no matter what the color of your skin is, what your culture, your ethnicity, like, you can do this. But honestly, having that Polynesian culture is a superpower for you. Like, don't let it hinder you. Let it build you up. Take pride in it, but work hard and do what you need to achieve whatever it is that you want to do, and that goes for any person. But in our case, for our kids, for all of these other owners' kids, a lot of them have young kids similar to us. And so it's like, and we've been, like, we're still technically startup, but, like, we've been in that first, second year, and you're just like, hey, take a chance on me. And I promise we're going to show up. We're going to figure it out, you
Yeah.
know? And but that's like the conscious effort that we're making because that's important to us, you know, within our company is, hey, we want to take you with us. We want to win with you. You know, this isn't just for us. This is for our family, but
Yeah.
also let us help you help your family, you know, your prosperity, your posterity, you know, all of that. So, yeah, just that's another super fulfilling part of being a business owner is when you get to uplift other people through
Yeah.
your business. And it's a mutual thing, you know, it's not just, hey, what can I get from you? You know, transactional. It's, no, I genuinely want you to win.
Yeah.
And we want to win with you, you know, and we want to help you get there. Right. And we're still learning, you know, growing, but that's such a fulfilling aspect of this job, you know.
And the cool thing too is this isn't even like sidetracked sidetracked from what this whole podcast was about was with bricks. You know, we were
Yeah.
trying to talk about bricks. No, but literally everything that we've talked about is now what bricks is as a business though.
Yeah.
You know,
So
as
I was literally thinking that, like
yeah,
Brett's whole purpose,
right. The
you know?
whole purpose of bricks
Yeah.
is what we're talking about. So even though we weren't talking about construction, like literally during this whole process, this construction process, we've grown and we've continued to buy in more and more to where we're fully bought in
Mm-hmm.
to the bricks family, you know,
So true.
because of what you just said. You know, we want our people to win. Whoever wants to roll with us, wants to rock with us, like, yo, if you're serious, we're serious.
Yeah, you got
Like,
us.
yeah, if you ain't serious, like just turn around and go back out that door, you
Yeah.
know, because
And that's happened before too,
yeah, and
honestly,
that's fine.
where it's like
Yep.
we're buying into people and they're kind of like, I don't know, you know, and so it's hard for us, you know, it puts you in
Yeah.
a hard situation. But then you have the flip end of it where you meet really awesome people who are all in, you know, and that's what I really admire about Brett, you know, and I think this mentality is like sometimes we feel like we're small dogs, you know, we're like, dang, we're still growing, we're still learning, but then we get these opportunities, you know, to hire new subs, you know, who are starting their company or whatever. And like Brett, you know, Brett always talks about his fulfillment in, hey, I've built a multi-million-dollar company, you know, I've been there, I've done that, you know, I got fulfillment in that, but what I really am fulfilled in is helping other people
Yep.
achieve their goals, you know,
Yep.
and for us, like we get to do that while also running our business, you know, but like you said, that's the whole mission of Bricks. And so just such a cool opportunity that I think we've gotten to like tap into more, but also see through a mentor of ours, you know, Brett, like just so grateful to be surrounded and to learn from people like him, you know, who aren't like, oh, well, you got to get your top line here before you can do this, you know, like, no, it's about the people you meet along the way, how you can help others, how you can serve them, how you can, you know, bring them with you, you know, and when we're all at the top, it's like, dang, we did it, you
Yeah.
know, and Bricks feels like that moment for us, one of those moments, right? We obviously are still doing what we do, but it's like, that's why I think we wanted to make this podcast is just to sit here, reflect on this project from beginning to now. You know, the bumps that came with it, but also the relationships. Like we were talking about that, like our life looks completely different now.
Yep.
We're going to dinner with people we didn't know 90 days ago, you know.
Yep.
We're spending our time, which we spend most of our time with our kids and our business. You
That's
know,
it.
our two besties.
Yep.
And so like, but now we're spending time with these entrepreneurs, you know, with these guys who knows what it takes, but they're willing to sit down with us and just get to know us, but also
Yeah.
mentor us. And, you know, that's part of the reason why we're members here too is the community, right? So
Well, and that's just like even our orientation meeting that we had. We had our orientation meeting for all the members that have an office up here on March 31st, the day before official opening. So a few days ago, and they all came in, and all these, people that have an office here are well established
yes,
businesses, and just their presence, they're dogs. Like straight up, these guys that are in here, they know what it takes
Yep.
and they've done it. That's what separates them from everybody else. And our saying for bricks, and again, we're a member as well. Our office is up here, but Brett made our shirts just for the 14 members, and there won't be any other shirts made after that. But on it, it says there are bleachers for a reason. And that came from one of our members,
Yep.
Michael McHenry.
Yep.
And he said there were bleachers for a reason. And during our orientation, that's what we talked about. That's what I talked about in my speech was, hey, the people that are on the bleachers, there's a reason because they don't belong on the playing field. The people in this building, bricks is the playing field. We're surrounded by winners. But when you play on the field, though, and whatever sport you've been a part of, or group that you've been a part of, you understand that the group wins. It takes the group to get to that final goal, or to achieve greatness. It's not just an individual, right? Everything has to be set up. Everybody has to do their role. And so the fact that we created this, building where those freaking killers could come in, and the trust that we build is simply just because you do what you do.
Yeah.
That respect, because we know that this guy, that guy, this girl, I ain't even got to second guess what they do. I just know they're locked in. So now when we're on this playing field, we just go full speed and we grow together, And it was so cool that, like you said, like we're just like the small dogs, like 90 days ago, we was like,
Yeah. Imposter syndrome was real. We're like,
oh,
is this us? Are we sure?
we almost got to like just play the part,
Yeah.
like, but deep down inside, we're like, dang, like,
Yeah, it's
do we
crazy.
freaking like belong in here?
Yeah.
Like these guys are freaking top dogs. They're just little puppies.
Hell yeah, we built this
But-
shit.
Yeah, right.
That's what we gotta say. That's all we gotta say.
Yeah, we built this shit. That's all we did.
Yeah.
But no, it's just so cool. No, honestly, and just to wrap it up, I just shout out to Brett, huh?
Man,
The
that guy.
relationship. It wasn't even just, yes, it started out as a client, and the cool thing though was that just one thing of like talking about success and talking about opportunities. When Brett said at the beginning, he literally did tell me that. You've heard him say it. Like, once I heard Devin's story, I straight up told him, I'm not, shopping around. You're my guy.
Yeah.
He told me that the first day we met
Yeah.
in Starbucks, like that, literally. He wasn't, exaggerating on that. But that's where I'm saying is someone gives you an opportunity, you better sell out. I'm talking all out. Truth is, Brett never even seen me build.
Yeah.
Brett doesn't even know anybody that I built for.
Right.
No references, nothing. Just, this guy's a good guy. I'm going with him.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's cool. But if you're someone out there that someone gives you that opportunity and, you're over here saying, man, all I need is just a foot in the door. A lot of guys say that. Then when the foot gets in the door, they fold.
Yeah.
They get discouraged.
But that's the
They
part
don't-
of it, right? Is be the person who, when you're given that opportunity, you're gonna show up
Yep.
and show out.
Yep.
Like the truth is that Brett resonated with who you were, who you are, because you are so authentic. Like you're genuine. You don't say something and not mean it. You
Yep.
know, and that's what he said in the orientation is everything Dev said he was gonna do, he's done. And I think, yeah, he didn't.
Everything we said we was going to do,
True.
we've done.
True.
Okay.
It's true.
I am you and you are me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. I just am more on the back end, and I like pretty face up front.
That's all I am. That's all, just in the front. But
No.
my brain, yeah.
It's okay,
It's
that's-
just a pretty face, but a dummy.
No, that's why we're a team. Different strengths, right?
Exactly.
But I feel like that's the key here, though. It's just be yourself, but with that, be someone who you would be proud to know, you would be proud to hire, like someone who you could trust, you could rely on. when you focus on you, and you really build yourself
Yep.
to be that business owner that you want to be, or that subcontractor, whatever, general, whatever you want to be, whoever it is, whatever it is, just really dig into yourself, show up for yourself, like fight those demons because we all got them,
Yeah.
but so that when someone meets you, it's, dang, I want to work with this person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to see what they do, but also it's like, no, just know that I'm going to show up,
Yep.
and that's really on you, right? At the end of the day, anyone can hire you, but perform well, right? One of our other mentors told us, just keep performing and that'll speak for itself, right?
Bars. I said, I love you. That was money. Holy moly. We need to put that on a wall.
I
Just
love
keep
you too.
performing. I love you too. No, but seriously, it's just been so fun, and
Yeah, I'm so grateful for this
don't get
opportunity.
don't get it twisted too. Like we are very humble, okay? But in order to win, you can't think of yourself that you're a small dog
Right.
or you're a nobody. Okay,
Right.
we just say that, because first of all, don't even go around saying like, "Yeah, I'm a big dog, I'm the guy."
Yeah.
Like, okay, bro, like we get
Yeah.
it, dog. Just play the humble card.
The
But
truth is, when
no,
you are the
deep
big
down
dog,
inside,
you ain't got to say that.
thank you. I was just you put it into perfect words. Yep.
Sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you, but
that you said it perfect. When you're the big dog, you don't need to say that you're the big dog,
Mhm.
or when you're doing something big, you let other people explain it. You let your work explain it for
Yeah.
yourself, and you play the humble card, right? But deep down inside, fuck, believe in yourself. Believing in yourself is saying, I am the fucking dog.
yeah.
I am that guy. Walk
Yeah.
into the building. Say, I am that girl. Like, I run this shit.
The belief and then the action to
And
follow
the
it.
action.
Because
You explain it, okay? Because I be saying some stuff and you just, gosh.
no, that you're saying it exactly right. I'm just feeding
you're
off of
saying
you.
it better. See, that's exactly. I'm just the guy in the camera, but really, I'm just a dummy.
So silly. Stop it. No, I was just going off of what you said, is yes, have that mentality and then do the work.
Yep.
Because the truth is whenever someone says, "Oh, Dev, you're so awesome," like Dev's like, "Oh no," but in his brain he's like, "Hell yeah, I am," because I know what I put into this. Same, same with me. It's like, "Hell yeah, I am," because I know that I'm working hard, like, and you're not gonna say that, right? Like all the
Yeah.
time, but it's like you have that quiet confidence about you because that you gotta be your biggest cheerleader. You gotta be your own. Because the truth is, I can't rely on Devin to always push me, or to always hype me up when I gotta do something. It's no, I gotta be a self starter. I gotta
Self-motivator.
a self motivator. I gotta keep going, keep pushing, constant forward motion, baby. Love it.
Love it.
Such a
love
great
it.
experience.
Great work.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Bricks, oh my goodness, has been life-changing for us, and we hope that it could be life-changing to our new members that are in here. And we are so blessed and honored to be able to have built this, and
Just the beginning.
just literally
More to
it's just-
come. Stay tuned.
just the end of a chapter, but this book is long, baby. This book is long.
Cut.
Love it.
Beep, boop, bop.
I love you.
That's the way. I like it. Walk a mile in these Louboutins.
Was that an hour?
Yes.